Something is wrong. All around the world, strange objects are appearing without warning. Crafts whizzing by at impossible speeds, drifting closer than ever before. What you're about to see isn't normal, and once you see it, it's hard to look away.
That is a UFO.
It's 2026, and everyone is tired of potato-quality UFO videos. But thankfully, tables might have turned for good. A woman captured a surprisingly clear video over Campinas, Brazil on December 25th. And yeah, it looked different. No classic flying saucer vibes. This thing appeared reflective, metallic, oddly geometric, just gliding like gravity was optional. An upscaled image even circulated later, which felt almost unfair, in a good way. I mean, if this really was some anti-gravity craft we hadn't seen before, it feels like aliens are quietly upgrading their designs. And now I can't stop wondering what version comes next. Fiery entrance. You wouldn't expect aliens to show their presence while celebrating 2026. And yet, that was what happened during New Year's Eve in Dubai. Fireworks were exploding around Burj Khalifa. The whole thing looked unreal already. And then, well, something whizzed past in the background. I mean, it wasn't even part of the show. Slowed down. It looked like a streak of light blinking green and red, just casually passing through. Clips were everywhere online. And people kept wondering why aliens would pick New Year's to say hi. Might I add, if this was a reminder that 2026 was their year, that thought kind of lingered a little too long. Saturn craft. As far as rings go, Saturn usually owns that look, but a strange UFO sighting near Lake Bohinj in the Julian Alps of Slovenia, recorded on November 19th, 2025, kind of challenged that idea. A dark disc-shaped craft drifted calmly through the sky, and that was where the similarities to classic UFOs stopped. Solid-looking rings surrounded it, moving independently, almost like they were guarding it. And then, just to really seal the moment, it glowed brightly and vanished. Gone, just like that. I mean, joking about a visitor from Saturn felt funny at first, but afterward, the idea didn't feel entirely impossible. Stick around, like, subscribe and keep your eyes on the sky. Flat cube. This thing looks flat as a pancake. Honestly, it makes you wonder if it's even wide enough to house anything inside. It almost resembles a square cousin of the famous TR-3B, which already felt suspicious enough. As the camera zoomed in, subtle lights were released from its surface, barely noticeable, but definitely there. And yeah, that raised questions. A force field? Some kind of energy discharge? I mean, it didn't look random. Whatever it was doing, it felt deliberate. Does anyone have theories about what this thing really is? Because it feels like one of those sightings that actually needs them. Scissor skimmer. Saucer-shaped crafts feel kind of overdone at this point, which is why this clip from the Baltic Sea hits differently. These guys were cruising along when something massive flew past at an insane speed. Slow it down though, and yeah, it looked scissor-shaped, like something ripped straight from a futuristic movie. Not exactly subtle. I mean, no way humans were pulling that off with current tech. Overland is one thing, but at sea too? That idea sits weirdly heavy. Maybe aliens aren't arriving anymore. Maybe they've already been here, quietly passing through. Midnight parade. Imagine stargazing at night, just minding your own business, thinking, wow, the sky actually looks peaceful for once. And then, yeah, 3 glowing objects suddenly parade in at an insane speed. This clip, recorded on November 24th, 2025 in LA, pretty much captured that exact moment of confusion. I mean, no commercial airliner moved like that. Not even close. And the weirdest part? The three objects swapped positions mid-flight and lined up into this neat triangular formation, like they were showing off. That felt a little too high-tech. So yeah, if they ever decide to come for us, well, it honestly feels like it's already over. Mid-air encounter. Back in 2022, during a congressional hearing on unidentified phenomena, the Pentagon dropped a bombshell, a video that had everyone talking. The clip, filmed in 2021 by a Navy pilot over the East Coast, showed something truly mind-boggling. Did you see that? Now let's check out the slowed-down version. It was a circular object zooming past the fighter jet at an unbelievable speed, barely missing it. The way it moved didn't align with anything we know about physics, making it hard to believe it was anything terrestrial. Could this be proof that aliens are curious about our technology and are getting up close and personal? Silent drifter. It isn't every day you go hiking and casually stumble onto what looks like anti-gravity tech. This guy definitely seemed to realize that, because he started recording right away. Just gliding low across the sky was this object. Not quite an orb, but almost. The way it hung around felt strange, like it wasn't in any rush at all. I mean, it didn't even try to hide. That makes it worse somehow. Either it was looking for a place to land, or, well, picking out a human guinea pig. We'll never know. Dubai appearance. On December 22nd, 2024, Dubai had its own brush with mystery when a glowing orb was spotted cruising through the sky. And no, skeptics, this one isn't your typical "it's just a balloon" moment. The object moves in a steady, straight line before vanishing behind a building. What's wild is the local who filmed it swears it suddenly shot straight up into the sky afterward. That's not exactly how balloons work, is it? So what's the deal here? Could this be proof of tech way beyond what we know? Or maybe the military has finally got their hands on the formula to build anti-gravity spacecrafts. Intimidation. Okay, this one is genuinely unsettling. A dark triangular object showed up in Mexico, and its corners were illuminated while lights flashed from its belly. The effect almost looked like lightning, giving the whole thing this ominous, threatening presence. It didn't feel friendly at all. I mean, it looked deadly. And then comes the scariest part, the speculation that it might have been a US spy craft. Because if this is true, it kind of suggests they've been behind UFO sightings all along. New Year's resolution. With the amount of sightings on New Year's, it almost felt like aliens have made a resolution to finally mess with us. Or maybe just intimidate us with the whole "we're not alone" reminder. This woman driving through Orlando witnessed something that definitely wasn't a plane. A saucer shape with a glowing belly, clearly visible in the sky. And it didn't even move. It just hovered there, like it had stalled out, if that was even possible for something that advanced. Or maybe it was recharging. I mean, UFOs casually hanging out in broad daylight now? That alone feels suspicious, to say the least. Slayer's layers. It's not every day you see a UFO, plain as day, flying like it means business. And it's definitely unusual when you can see this UFO isn't just a product of CGI. I mean, check out those curves. This might be one of our only chances to see what UFOs really look like, aside from being disc-like objects. The layers suggest to me that this UFO could have floor levels inside, which means it's not only one, but possibly multiple aliens that are hunkered up inside. It was last spotted in Hawaii in 2015, and since then, the FAA has been on the lookout for anything remotely suspicious like this. Diamond watchers. It honestly felt like the end of 2025 introduced a new UFO trend, diamond-shaped crafts. One was spotted in Brazil, just hanging there in a bright blue sky, sharp edges clearly visible. Then another clip surfaced from Puebla, Mexico, showing something almost identical, only clearer. And this one had what looked like windows lining the middle, like a floating building. I mean, that detail alone was weird. It made the craft feel occupied, purposeful. Maybe these diamond-shaped UFOs weren't random at all. Maybe they were surveillance units, quietly assigned to watch us. And once you thought that, it was hard to unsee. Cloudopia. Alright, fine. You might say that some clouds are just clouds. But how can you justify this as just a cloud? See how this creepy ring blends in with the clouds? You can tell it's trying hard to fit in, and is definitely not one of Mother Nature's works. Could it really be an alien spacecraft trying to disguise itself behind the clouds? Perhaps it thinks its cover won't be blown away if it hid behind them. Well, aliens are pretty smart, so we can't really put it past them to actually pull this off. A heart of tin.
It looks real to me. It really does look.
This is one of the clearest UFO videos you'll ever see. It was flying over a neighborhood, very brave of it, might I add, and one man ended up videoing it too. But here's the thing. Doesn't this finally tell us why all those UFOs we see in cartoons are shaped like a tin hat? Because this really is that very typical saucer-shaped UFO, which means we've been on the right track all these years. The thing is, I'm no longer worried about these UFOs since I've accepted that extraterrestrial life exists. I'm more worried about why they're suddenly starting to make themselves visible. Galactic Galicia. A bunch of fishermen boating over Galicia excitedly recorded a small fleet of fighter planes. Initially assuming it was some sort of exercise, they quickly realized the planes were chasing something. And then we see this. That's right in the middle of the sea, a UFO, clearly apprehended by the pilots, trying its best to escape. But it looks like the Air Force caught up with it and forced it down. Who knows if it made it in the end or not? But seeing something like this would certainly change one's life. Coastal teaser. A very conspicuous saucer-shaped UFO was filmed hovering over the LA coast, right above the water. It flashed green and red lights like it wanted attention, which was strange. Some people argued it was a drone, but honestly, it felt too bold for that. If it was an alien craft, it wasn't exactly being subtle, or maybe that was the point. Acting careless on purpose. I mean, what if it was bait, luring curious humans closer for abductions, or experiments, or whatever it was they supposedly did? That thought alone made the casual flashing feel a lot less harmless.
Holy.
Live UFO.
That Parliament was misled by the company, and what our committee is trying to do.
If nothing else has convinced you, this might just be the nail in the coffin. Back in 2011, a video of a newscaster went viral when viewers noticed something strange happening in the background. A shining object zipped by so fast, it was almost impossible to identify. While many were convinced it was a UFO, skeptics dismissed it as a seagull catching the sunlight. Iranian UFO. At first glance, you'd think it was some high-tech drone from an amusement park show, but nope. This thing was gliding freely across the skies of Tehran, Iran, and people were completely stunned. Pedestrians on the street whipped out their phones, capturing footage of a sight they couldn't explain. What made it so bizarre? There wasn't a single sign of exhaust, no visible propulsion system, just a strange, seamless movement that had everyone pointing toward the classic explanation, a UFO. But, of course, the internet had more to say. Some speculated it could be linked to secret government experiments, while others leaned into even darker theories. Diamond spinner. In December 2025, locals in Medellin, Colombia, captured a shocking sight on camera. As they pointed their phones toward the cloudy sky, a dark shape slowly became visible, hovering high above them. It looked like a diamond-shaped object, revolving steadily in place. The movement felt deliberate, almost mechanical. Even stranger, the bottom appeared to glow faintly, resembling an exhaust keeping it suspended in the air. It didn't drift with the clouds or fade away. It stayed there, spinning calmly, as if unaffected by the wind. Witnesses couldn't match it to any known aircraft. That unusual shape alone left many convinced this wasn't something ordinary.
Bro, what is that?
Silent mothership. This strange object was filmed over Perth, Australia one night, and the footage unsettled thousands. It appeared to camouflage itself within the clouds, but a glowing oval shape gave it away. An intensely bright ring outlined what looked like a massive saucer-shaped mothership hovering silently in the sky. Even more disturbing, two smaller orbs were seen moving alongside it, as if they had just emerged from the larger craft. The scene felt ominous. Many viewers believed this wasn't just a sighting, but the beginning of something bigger. The footage left people wondering if this was the moment aliens finally arrived, not to observe, but to invade. Aerial observer. Have you ever gone paragliding expecting peaceful views and ended up seeing something impossible? That's exactly what happened to one paraglider who captured more than just scenery. Floating calmly in the sky was a metallic orb, hovering effortlessly nearby. The footage looked authentic, especially considering how old the clip was, making CGI or editing unlikely. The object glided slowly, almost pacing the paragliders. Some believed it was observing them, curious about this strange human activity in the air. The silence and control of the orb made it feel less like an object, and more like something watching back. Tube travelers.
Es la magia del pueblo organizado.
Anyone would have flipped out seeing this. So yeah, this guy in Mexico thinking he was imagining things made sense. He noticed these strange glowing objects in the sky, shaped like tubes, which, honestly, wasn't a spacecraft design I knew was an option. Maybe an avant-garde alien phase. The wild part was how they looked stacked, almost like multiple levels on top of each other. I mean, that suggested space for passengers. A whole alien family, maybe. And yeah, something tells me they weren't here for a relaxing vacation. Real Jetsons. Seeing this clip almost made it feel like the Jetsons had been onto something. The UFO community believed this was among the clearest footage out there. A classic saucer shape, a dome-like glass top, clearly visible as it maneuvered through the sky over Cape Town, South Africa. It glided over the ocean in broad daylight, like it didn't care who noticed. And the part that really stuck? This was recorded back in 2003. I mean, if that's true, who knows how long aliens have been casually hanging around that area already. Brazen appearance. A pedestrian near Circular Quay in Sydney had recorded this orb-shaped thing flying around in broad daylight, and even a year later, it still feels unsettling. It hovered calmly, like being seen wasn't a concern at all, which honestly said a lot. At one point, the orb shifted color, growing darker before disappearing entirely, almost like it suddenly realized it was being filmed. I mean, a little late for that. The whole thing felt less like a mistake and more like impatience, which isn't exactly comforting. Bogasphere.
Witnesses in Colombia observed the object gliding with purpose until it struck high-voltage power lines and dropped to the ground.
Alright, this next one feels intense. Humans might finally be close to cracking the longest-running UFO mystery. The metallic, hovering orbs. The infamous Bogasphere has finally been caught. And yeah, it was strange. Perfectly made, covered in odd markings, and apparently responsive to Sanskrit chants, which already sounded unreal. But then AI analysis suggested the markings might have been a warning about an incoming disaster, with a solution hidden inside. Scary, right? It's still debated, sure, but even scientists are leaning toward this being alien. And honestly, that possibility sits uncomfortably quiet.
It was unlike anything we've ever seen. Smooth, metallic, and etched with unknown markings and symbols.
Hidden pilot. Okay, you really don't want to miss this one. People have always wondered if UFOs were automated, like unmanned probes just doing their thing. That thought stuck around until this photo from Mexico in 2023 resurfaced. After zooming in, brightening and sharpening the image, something appeared inside. A figure, and might I add, it looked exactly like a classic gray alien staring straight at the camera. Which, yeah, made the whole thing worse. Not all of them being probes suddenly makes sense, and for once, it feels like we're not totally in the dark. Cloud intruder. A shocking moment in Juanito Juan's life changed everything. He was photographing clouds outside his workshop when something slipped into the frame, and somehow he managed to snap 3 photos before it vanished. And yeah, those weren't blurry throwaways. They were clear. I mean, I didn't think I'd ever see UFO photos that sharp. Black, shiny, reflecting sunlight like it actually belonged there. Juanito even went on TV and stuck to his story, sounding dead serious. And look, he was a mechanic. I really doubted he was pulling off some high-end edit. But hey, I'll let you decide what you were looking at. Turkish mystery.
Last year, Congress held a formal public hearing on unidentified aerial phenomena for the first time in 50 years. The Pentagon disclosed to lawmakers that it has cataloged more than 400 reports of UAPs.
Back in 2009, a man in Istanbul, Turkey, was stargazing when something strange caught his eye in the night sky. It looked like a saucer-shaped craft hovering low over the sea. Curious, he zoomed in with his camera, and what he captured left everyone speechless. Inside the craft's cockpit were 2 figures sitting side by side. But here's the strange part. These figures didn't look human. Their oversized, egg-shaped heads had experts pointing to extraterrestrial origins. Still skeptical? Even the Turkish government stepped in and called the footage authentic. And it's yet to be refuted. Desert lights. This one happened on December 31st, 2025 in Arizona, and the comments were chaotic. Some people swore it was edited, others claimed they were spotlights. But if you ask me, spotlights don't usually look like that. Which kind of forces the question, what was it then? Aliens feel like the obvious answer by now, but there's also that Project Bluebeam theory gaining traction. And yeah, the idea that this could have been a hologram means to ease people into something bigger? That part is unsettling. Ring light. Things are getting stranger by the day, and this one really takes it. Recorded in Argentina on December 21st, 2025, a stunned local captured a brilliant light hovering in the sky. Zooming in revealed it wasn't just a glowing orb. It had these intricate rings. And honestly, your first reaction is how beautiful it looks, almost hypnotic. But then the questions kick in. What was that? No one cracked it. Some speculated an intergalactic portal, which sounded magical, until others brought up Project Blue Beam again. And yeah, that kind of ruined the wonder. Chainsaw orb. This UFO recorded in Mexico in December 2025 looked like it was ready for war. I mean, just look at those spikes along its edges, sharp enough to slice metal in half. And it was rotating too, like some airborne chainsaw just hanging out in the sky. That alone was terrifying, but the part that stuck was how it hovered there in broad daylight, doing nothing, waiting maybe for a signal or an opponent. The idea that it could have been awaiting orders doesn't sit right at all. Let's just hope we never see that thing again. Shifting ascent. Can someone explain what the hell happened here? This thing was recorded in Mexico, and it started simple enough. An orb rising from behind a mountain. Then it stretched, like physically changed shape. As it kept climbing, it elongated even more, and by the time it reached higher altitude, it turned black with a white tail shooting upward. I mean, my brain genuinely struggled to process that sequence. What was that? Some kind of shape-shifting skinwalker craft? The idea that aliens might have technology that could morph mid-flight felt unsettling. If something could change form that easily, hiding would be effortless. Lumos. A resident of New York captured a strange object in the sky, emitting lights so bright that it lit up the sky at night. Seriously, can you even tell it's night? No, right. Now before we go on our high horses thinking these are just a bunch of stadium lights, there aren't any in the area. In fact, there's not even a lamppost in the area. And then it gets even more intriguing. As he moved the camera, he recorded another set of lights over a church, but this time, you can tell it's some sort of aircraft. Well, if aliens are picking churches to land onto, maybe there's something truly fishy going on. Base jellyfish. On September 17th, 2025, soldiers near a military base in Iraq noticed something strange drifting through the daytime sky. A dark, solid shape was captured on camera, and yeah, it looked eerily similar to the jellyfish UAP footage released by the US military. It moved steadily, moving only in one direction. The part that raised eyebrows was the location. Why did these things always show up near military bases? That pattern felt intentional, unless the military already knew more than they let on. The idea that they could be quietly cooperating with aliens wasn't comforting, but it didn't feel impossible either. An old friend. After multiple reports of the sighting of a UFO in Bogota, Colombia, one resident finally released a video of a different angle. And now that we know what this UFO looks up close, doesn't it seem weird how it was hovering over one spot? Perhaps it was trying to retcon the intel it had gathered before. Or maybe there was a landing zone nearby and it was stuck until it was time to fly away. But you know what's scary? This UFO was filmed 2 years ago, which means Bogota has been receiving aliens since God knows when. The Pentagon truth. In April 2020, the world changed forever. But not only because of the pandemic, because after all those years of wondering if the disks zipping across the skies were just a figment of our imagination, the freaking Pentagon came forward with proof that alien life not only exists, but has literally been visiting us for decades. Here, they show proof of encountering a UFO, one that seemed pretty eager to show off its abilities and try its best to get away. And even after the pilots locked in on it, it managed to escape. That's pretty terrifying. Sky swimmer. This strange glowing UAP had been spotted across multiple locations over just a few days, and it didn't move like anything normal. It almost looked like it was swimming through the sky, little fin-like shapes on the sides, leaving behind white ripples. In a second clip filmed at night, it even resembled a turtle. Seriously, once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. So what was it? A hologram? A new kind of craft checking different areas? Something about it felt intentional, especially that blinking red light in the night clip. More like a signal or a countdown. New Year's surprise. We've even got aliens on New Year's Day. In Dallas in 2025, locals out to celebrate captured this shocking footage. A massive object was seen hovering over a residential area, and it wasn't exactly discreet either. It was glowing so bright, you'd think it might give the sun a run for its money. It felt like it was making its rounds around the city. But why? Well, we have the internet for that. Some speculated that it might be looking for something it had lost, while others were certain that it was surveying the area, maybe even mapping out the city, so they can easily start invading. Oregon anomaly.
It was a strange sight in the skies over Oregon that left pilots struggling to make sense of what they were witnessing.
On December 14th, 2024, the skies over Oregon turned into the center of a mystery as pilots began reporting something seriously strange. 60,000 feet above, mysterious red balls of light were spotted darting across the sky at mind-blowing speeds. Pilots described the phenomena in such detail that experts were quick to rule out the usual suspects: fighter jets, drones, or even weather balloons. So, what could it be? Locals are buzzing with theories, with many convinced that UFOs are the only explanation. Maybe aliens have finally decided it's time to say hello. But as of now, the experts are still scratching their heads with no solid answers in sight.
UFO sightings in the Pacific Northwest. Tonight, the growing questions about what several airline pilots spotted recently.
Declassified footage. When the director of the All-Domain Anomaly Research Office in the U.S. revealed unclassified footage of an unidentified flying object, UFO, the world erupted with panic. A military drone captured this orb-like thing moving past the frame. As the camera moved to follow it, lost the object. After getting the clip analyzed by experts, they found that its movements defied basic physics laws. Since the release of the clip, the idea of UFOs and extraterrestrials seem a lot more real. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.